How do we purify the mind amidst the chaos of the world and our daily lives? Over 2,500 years ago, the Buddha discovered a profound answer during his own journey to enlightenment. He rediscovered one of India's most ancient meditation techniques, Vipassana meditation. This practice not only offers a pathway to clarity and peace, but also invites us to explore the depths of our own consciousness. Join me as I share my experience and explore the practice, history, and benefits of Vipassana meditation. Vipassana means to see things as they really are. Vipassana meditation is a technique that purifies the mind with self-observation. This method of meditation not only produces inner peace, but also helps us contact and experience our fundamental nature. The ultimate goal of Vipassana meditation is to reach liberation from all mental defilements. This technique is non-sectarian, meaning that it can be practiced by anyone regardless of their background or religion. During the 45 years that the Buddha taught, Vipassana meditation spread throughout North India. These teachings then expanded to neighboring countries of Myanmar, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and many others. However, 5 centuries after the Buddha's passing, the art of Vipassana meditation had completely disappeared in India and almost everywhere else. Fortunately, the original practice was preserved in the country of Myanmar and was passed down by a devoted chain of teachers for over 2,000 years. For a long time, Vipassana meditation was only taught among monastics. The Venerable Ledi Sayadaw re-established the teaching of Vipassana meditation to lay people. This would pave the way for lay Vipassana teachers. In modern times, Vipassana has been restored in India and brought to 80 countries internationally by the chain's last principal teacher, Mr. S.N. Goenka. Vipassana meditation follows the principles of the Dharma, which are the universal laws of nature. This entails following the Eightfold Noble Path, which can be categorized as Sila, morality, Samadhi, concentration, and Panna, wisdom. For those who wish to learn Vipassana, the process is taught at 10-day courses under a certified teacher. These courses are taught around the world. Participants who entered the course are completely isolated from the outside world during the duration of the course. Students are required to abstain from certain behaviors, such as reading, writing, and religious activities/practices. No other meditation technique besides Vipassana is allowed during the retreat for full immersion into the practice. Students do not communicate with others throughout the course in a practice of noble silence. Discussion, however, can take place between the student and the teacher and managers of the course. All Vipassana courses are run on a donation basis. The 3 steps of the practice of Vipassana is as follows. The first step is Sila, or morality. When students participate in a course, they have to uphold Sila. This means that participants have to follow the 5 moral precepts during the course: to abstain from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and using intoxicants. Following these precepts lays the foundation for a calm mind as the retreat progresses. The second step is cultivating samadhi or concentration through the practice of anapana meditation for the first 3.5 days of the course. Anapana meditation is a practice of focusing on the breath. This involves concentration around the nose and the areas surrounding the nose to build awareness of sensation in a small area. These first few days are essential for building samadhi and control necessary for the last step. The third step is panna or wisdom, which is the purification of mental impurities. The remaining 6.5 days will be taken for the practice of Vipassana, which is a technique of assessing a person's physical and mental structure with the clarity of panna. Throughout the course, recordings from Mr. S.N. Goenka are presented with meditation instructions. Additionally, in the evening, there is a discourse reflecting on the course of the process. The noble silence is broken on the 10th day to help students assimilate to the outside world, and possessions are given back. The retreat ends with introducing the practice of Meta-mindfulness, loving kindness or goodwill towards all. My experience and tips. I want to go over some additional notes from my experience during my first Vipassana retreat in Taiwan. The first tip is to sign up early. I signed up the day that the registration opened for a retreat in February. Many Vipassana retreats are fully booked 3 months prior. When you apply, you have to fill out a form with personal information history. Sometimes the Vipassana Center will inquire more about certain parts of your application before they accept you. I mentioned in my application that I had meditated with several other techniques in the past. Before they reserved my spot, they asked me if I was okay with stopping all other meditation techniques while I was intending to focus on Vipassana. Additionally, it should be noted that they take mental health and health concerns seriously. When I arrived at the course, I had to fill out paperwork similar to the application. However, this survey went more in depth into our personal history. The next day, when the course began, they gave me a slip during breakfast for a meeting with the teacher. The course teacher wanted to discuss with me what I had written about my mental health history. She told me that each person at the course had their own problems and history to deal with, but they needed to know what were the worst symptoms I had experienced, because for some people, participating in the course can bring up past trauma. But she assured me that it would only happen if the meditation was practiced improperly. After I told her about my past, she told me I needed to check in with them during the course if I had any problems. The teacher and the course managers were all very attentive. During the first few days, I quietly snuck out to use the bathroom during one of the evening group meditations. And when I came back, one of the course managers was waiting for me outside the hall and asked me if I was okay. Now I want to address a few difficulties while adjusting to the course. The first problem I encountered while starting was fatigue. I had been traveling before the retreat, and it was difficult to adjust at first. The first few days I fell asleep frequently during meditation. This typical schedule started from 4:30 a.m. to 9 p.m., with at least 10 hours of meditation a day. In order to combat my fatigue, I would drink tea when I woke up in the mornings, and I also decided to meditate in the meditation hall with the others instead of meditating in my room, because it was easy for me to fall asleep if I meditated on my bed or on the chair. And I also began to take naps after lunch. My fatigue improved as the retreat progressed, but there were times I would still fall asleep. It was obvious when it was about to happen because my heart would dramatically slow down. My teacher advised me that in order to stay awake, I needed to breathe harder. Another problem that I faced early on was physical pain. Sometimes during the sessions, I had to reposition or take breaks. After the first few days, sitting in the half lotus position for extensive periods of time hurt my knees and made it difficult to practice. My teacher gave me a bench to sit on, which helped relieve the pain on my knees. Additionally, it also helped me to do mindful walking during our breaks. Walking was the only exercise allowed during the retreat. It's also important to wear loose-fitting clothing. For a brief time, I was wearing a shirt that was a little tight and it restricted my breathing and focus. It also made me feel lightheaded. As the retreat progressed, I experienced different phases throughout the process. On day 4, they introduced the technique of Vipassana, which involves scanning individual body parts with awareness. We would start from the crown of the head, then the head and face, right arm, left arm, front side of torso, back side of torso, right leg, left leg. The order doesn't have to be exactly the same, but the order needed to be repeated so you could keep track of the parts already scanned. As the course progressed, we would try to scan more parts of the body simultaneously. Day 5 introduced the practice of Yuttana for 3 times a day for 1 hour, where we would try to meditate without moving. At first, it felt like my mind was screaming after 45 minutes had passed. Already, by the next day, it became significantly easier and my body was more relaxed. When I observed my pain, instead of reacting to it, it was significantly reduced. Each day, I was able to become more concentrated and my body became more sensitive. Near the beginning, I was only experiencing obvious sensations like clothes, air, or pain. However, near the end I could feel more subtle sensations like tingling and sometimes blood flowing. On a side note, you also become more sensitive to thoughts because of the low stimulation. One time a funny thought came up during Yuttana, and the thought completely jolted me, and it took some time to calm down because the emotion had some reverberations. Not that many heavy emotions had come up inside of me during the retreat. There were some moments of loneliness and sadness that came up, and I just treated them as friends that accompanied me. What I felt more often were random junk food thoughts, which were best to watch pass by in my mind. They didn't evoke much emotion. Also, sometimes focusing on the body disintensively would bring up images of people's bodies. As the retreat progressed, I felt myself dissolve into silence more every day. Each day felt like I was going deeper into the experience. I appreciate the noble silence and the retreat as an opportunity to spend time with myself. I felt more peaceful and clear than before I came. This peace grew to extend to other people in my life. Near the end of the retreat, I saw an image of someone who I had a difficult relationship with in the past. They were giving me a hug, as if the problems we had in the past were healing. I remember from before I left, the course manager who first took me in talked to me. She told me that when I came here that I looked tired, but maybe after the 4th or 5th day, she saw me smile at the sun and told me it looked like I bloomed. Of course, this was just the beginning. They recommend in the course that you practice 2 sessions of Vipassana meditation a day, 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. Also, it is helpful to keep practicing mindfulness everywhere you can, like walking and eating. Conclusion. Overall, what I learned from the experience was how to anchor myself in my emotions and my body. I would recommend going to a Vipassana retreat for anyone who practices meditation on a regular basis, as a way to immerse and deepen your practice. The technique and lessons of the course are practical, grounded, and about realization through experience. Vipassana is a universal and non-sectarian approach to suffering. It is worth noting, however, that Vipassana meditation is only one technique among many. Vipassana benefits the practitioner by quieting the mind, increasing mindful states, and improving concentration, which in turn creates clear awareness and freedom from suffering. Vipassana not only reduces and eliminates qualities rooted in ignorance, but also helps us to generate compassion. By purifying our minds of the negative habits and complexes we have, we can discover the qualities of love, metta, compassion, karuna, sympathetic joy, mudita, and equanimity, upekkha, within us expand toward all living beings.